UFC 310 just ended. It was a pretty good card. We're gonna go through the entire card from the main event to the early prelims. Really quick though. We did our first live stream, and some of you tuned into that. Anybody who tuned into that, thank you. It was a blast, and I do plan to do more in the future. But yeah, let's just jump into it. Before we do, my usual spiel. If you like the content, subscribe. Starting off with this main event. Now, I picked Pantoja to win by decision because there is definitely a difference between the UFC and every other organization. The UFC has always been the best of the best, right? And this was just that. Pantoja nearly knocked him out in the first round. I don't even think he realized that Kyle Arsikor was rocked, but he dominated the first round. Kyle Arsikor, he did land some good strikes, but Pantoja landed 2 takedowns. Rocked, like I said, he rocked Kyle Arsikor really well. Didn't notice it. And then in round 2, it was more of the same. Pantoja took him down, got his back, got the rear naked choke, and he called out Demetrius Johnson. This guy has cleaned out his division. He has beat every single contender. Brendan Roybal is ready for him, but he already beat Brendan Roybal, and you can argue that Pantoja is one of the most well-rounded, if not the most well-rounded fighter in the UFC. After his win, though, he did call out Demetrius Johnson. Now, Demetrius Johnson obviously is with one. I'm not sure how his contract will work, but I would love to see Pantoja face Demetrius Johnson. Obviously, Demetrius Johnson is reaching his 40s. I think he's 36, 37, around there. But it still would be an interesting fight. It would be a good name for Pantoja to face. But I really don't see anybody beating him in the flyweight division. And for Kyle Arsikor, he did have his moments in this fight. But, the UFC is different. He lost to Manel Kape before, who's in the flyweight division right now. But yeah, phenomenal performance by Pantoja. I really don't think anybody beats him in his division. Maybe he would go up in bantamweight. I don't know how much success he would have at bantamweight, but I'd be all for it. Obviously, we have Merab versus Umar in January, so we will have to see from there. All around, though, like I said, amazing performance by Alexander Pantoja. I was amazed. I picked him to win by decision, but the UFC is a different beast. Moving on to the co-main event, Shavkat remains undefeated. However, his finish streak has officially been broken, and Ian Gary had his moments. I had Shavkat winning 4 rounds to 1, 3 rounds to 2 at worst. But you go round by round. Shavkat dominated in actually no, I can't say dominated. He did well in the wrestling as we thought he would, but Ian Gary was able to land some big shots, and then you get to, I think it's was it round 3 or round 4? Ian Gary was putting together submission attempts, and He did have one, I think it was in round 5, that looked really good and nearly finished Shavkat, but Shavkat was able to get out of it. And Bilal Muhammad came into the octagon afterwards. They showed a lot of respect, and now that's the fight we're gonna see. That was the fight we were originally gonna have in the main event, but after this, you know, I doubted Ian Gary in this fight. Granted, it was short notice. I think he does pretty well against Bilal Muhammad. I think Shavkat beats Muhammad. And I cannot wait for this rematch. This rematch is bound to happen sooner rather than later. Phenomenal performance by Shavkat and Ian Gary. But yeah, Shavkat Rakhmonov, though, his finishing streak did end. You know, I don't know how much weight there is on it. I'm joking. I'm joking. A win is a win. It was pretty clear that Shavkat won this fight. But again, Ian Gary looked really good. And, you know, going from the MVP fight to this showcase that Ian Gary is really one of the top guys at welterweight. We obviously have Joaquin Buckley versus Colby Covington next week, and maybe you give the winner of that to Ian Gary. I would like to see that fight. Obviously, Colby Covington has had a back and forth with Ian Gary over Twitter and Instagram, saying a lot of funny shit as Colby Covington does. But yeah, Shavkat Rakhmonov, I believe, is bound to win that title. No disrespect to Bilal Muhammad, but I'll be interested to see how Bilal Muhammad's pressure style will work against somebody like Shavkat, who has really good striking, really good wrestling, and a perfect all-around game. But you know, both of these guys put all they had into this, and it was an incredible fight. Moving on to the fight between Silgon and Alexander Volkov. I picked Volkov to win, and I'm gonna be completely honest. I had him winning rounds 2 and 3. Like rounds 2 and 3. Well, rounds 1 and 2 were close, but I still think Volkov won round 2. Silgon, I want to say this though, he did show a lot of improvement, especially in the grappling game. But against a Tom Aspinall, against a John Jones, I don't see him beating them. Like I said, I kind of thought Volkov won this fight. But you know, pretty good fight between the two of them. And we all know at heavyweight, the next fight will be Tom Aspinall versus John Jones. As much as John Jones is pushing for the Pereira fight, I feel like you do Pereira Ankalaev, and then you do John Jones Aspinall. And even if John Jones loses against Tom Aspinall, I know he won't add the title there. You could throw a BMF title if you want. The Pereira fight will sell, right? But back to this fight, it was an alright fight. Silgon definitely did show that he is improving in the grappling game, and I would like to see what he can do next. Yeah. Moving on to Bryce Mitchell versus Kron Gracie. Why in the fuck is Kron Gracie on the main event all the time? I get he's a Gracie, but he has shown nothing in the UFC that warrants him being on the main card every time. And Bryce Mitchell was showing off his grappling. He nearly got submitted a few times there, but he was able to fight out of it. And in the third round, he got that TKO. He was on top of Congracie, landing massive shots, and good win by Bryce Mitchell. Like I said though, Congracie, stop throwing this guy in main events. I know it's not the main event, but stop throwing him on the main card. Give him time to develop. I know he's an older guy in that, but he should not be on the main card. We had so many other fights on the prelims that should have been in this spot. And yeah, again, good win by Bryce Mitchell. Congracie should not be on the main card. Fight me. Moving on to Nate Landwehr versus Dooku Choi. Dooku Choi looked fucking incredible in this fight. I think I'm pretty sure he outstruck Nate Landwehr in every round. He was landing beautiful combinations too. Was able to get 2 takedowns in the second, 1 in the third, 1 in the first, 2. Basically, whatever he wanted to do, he was able to do. You look at the significant strikes: 40-9 in the first, 23-12 in the second, and then in the third it was 4-15. Like, this was as dominant of a performance you can ask for, and it's sad as a fan of Nate Landwehr. It sucks, but again, phenomenal performance by Dooku Choi. I was really impressed by him, and he fought an incredible fight. Moving on to the main event of the prelims, Dominic Reyes versus Anthony Smith. Anthony Smith finally hanging up their gloves. Now, let me talk about Dominic Reyes first, and then we'll talk about Anthony Smith. Dominic Reyes looked perfect in this fight. This is a really good performance by him, getting back in the win column, and, he did have that close fight with John Jones, and then after that he kind of sunk a bit. I don't know if he makes it to the top of the light heavyweight division again, but this is a really good performance by him. And as I said, Anthony Smith chose to retire finally. And okay, I don't want to shit on Anthony Smith. He did have a really good career. However, when it came to any adversity that he faced in his career, as somebody who calls himself Lionheart, he fell apart. Like, you saw in his last fight, the moment he had any adversity, he crumbles, right? And you look at the strikes in the second round, 119-0. 53-24, okay. Dominic Reyes did better. 119-0. Right? And, on the Believe You Me podcast, which he is a co-host of, Michael Bisping said it. He said that he did not believe that Anthony Smith had his head in the game. I know he had his coach or a training partner passed away before this. It was not good. I'm glad he retired because we have seen so many fighters hold on to this thing way too long. You can go look at Tony Ferguson, Chuck Liddell, BJ Penn, any of those old guys, right? Anthony Smith, he's a commentator, he's an analyst, he's on the Believe You Me podcast. he doesn't need to fight. He is well off. And it's difficult for a fighter to accept the fact that they are not at the top of the chain. You know, Anthony Smith held on to that going into his fight, that he was truly one of the best light heavyweights. And you can make the argument at a time he was. However, you know, the most submissions, the statistical light heavyweight gold, those were not against stellar competition in the light heavyweight division. Most of those guys were complete cans or way past their prime. Dominic Reyes, you know, he fought John Jones. A lot of people thought he won that fight, including myself. Uh, yeah. This was a dominant performance. Like, you just see it there at 119 strikes, 79% landed, 73 significant. This was a domination of Anthony Smith. But, yeah. It's difficult for somebody who is a competitor. And in order to be a fighter, you need to be a competitor. It's tough for them to swallow this pill. But I'm glad he did. I'm looking forward to Anthony Smith and what he does next. He's a smart guy. He doesn't have much brain damage. Well, you can make any joke you want in the comments. But he speaks really good. Again, he has so many opportunities around MMA. He won't be leaving the MMA world. He'll still be around. Well, yeah, good win by Dominic Reyes. Glad Anthony Smith retired, and I hope him the best in his analyst career, his career as a podcaster with Michael Bisping. But this is a long time coming, man. This is a hard pill for Smith to swallow. But he finally did. He took off his gloves, left him in the ring, octagon, and yeah, good win by Reyes. Moving on to Vicente Luque versus Themba Garamba. I picked Themba Garamba to win, and Vicente Luque submitted him within a minute. Basically, what was it again? I forgot. I'm pretty sure it was a Darce choke. I'm blanking on how he won. I just watched this tape. This is gonna annoy me. Because I know I'm like 100. Well, I wouldn't say 195% correct. UFC 310 results. I hate how ESPN doesn't put the submission method. Results. It was a Darce choke. I'm right. Yeah, it was really deep Darce choke. Again, you gotta feel it quick. Themba Garamba, I know he's a feel-good story. I know The Rock brought him a house. But he's not going to make it in the welterweight division. The welterweight division is filled with killers. And we even have a guy that we are going to talk about shortly who did win. Didn't win in spectacular fashion. However, he is one of these guys coming up. Maybe Themba Garamba can put it together, but I don't see him doing well in the top 15. I don't see him doing well in the top 10. And I sure as shit don't see him doing well in the top 5. I'm just being honest here. After that performance, I think I think his chances of getting to the top are pretty slim. Other than that, that's all I really got to say. Next, we go to Movsar Evloev versus Aljamain Sterling. This fight should have happened a while ago, but, you know, it was a competitive fight. Aljamain Sterling did show off his jiu-jitsu, and he did have a lot of success in their grappling department. However, Movsar Evloev was able to put more strikes together, and in the third, even though Aljamain Sterling was landed three takedowns, Movsar Evloev kept tagging him and tagging him. It was a pretty clear decision win for Movsar Evloev. He remains undefeated. He's another one of these Russian fighters, and you can't beat these Russian fighters for some reason. Good performance by Movsar Evloev. Aljamain Sterling did look good in this fight, and you know, at 145 he does look good, but 145 is filled with killers. Topuria, Lopez, all of these guys. Yeah. Moving on to the first fight, and I kind of alluded to this one. Brian Battle versus Randy Brown. This is a split decision. The first round, Randy Brown looked a lot better, landed two takedowns, outstruck Brian Battle. The second was a pretty clear round for Brian Battle. Looked really good. Doubled up on Randy Brown's strike. In the third, however, it was really close. Strikes of 35 to 30. Significant strikes. So Randy Brown did have more. And it was a toss-up for me who was going to win this. But Brian Battle did get the nod. The crowd did boo him. And he did what he did last time. And riled up the crowd. I believe this guy has, he has the it factor. Like, you either need to get the crowd to love you or hate you. This guy knows how to play a heel very well. But yeah, this is a very close fight. And Randy Brown, though, I'm not going to take away from Randy Brown. This is one of my most anticipated fights on this card. Randy Brown is a solid fighter, but a really close fight for Brian Battle. I'd be interested to see who his next opponent is, and whether or not he can make it to the top 15 in a division as stacked as welterweight. Moving on to the headliner of the prelims, Chris Weidman versus Eric Anders. Eric Anders was able to win by TKO in the second round. Outstruck Chris Weidman severely. Chris Weidman did get a submission attempt that was in the second. Sorry. But Eric Anders got the TKO. Looked really impressive. Yeah, Weidman did get a knockdown. He looked good in this fight, but again, both of them missed weight, I'm pretty sure. And Chris Weidman, he already won the belt. For him to make it back to the top it doesn't exist. Weidman, I feel like is done. Then the infamous leg curse where Silva broke his leg and then he broke his leg a few fights later. That derailed Chris Weidman. But at a time, Chris Weidman was one of the scariest middleweights in the world. Either way though, really good fight, really good performance by Eric Anders, who is another veteran. But moving on to Joshua Van versus Cody Durden. Um, Joshua Van has really impressed me. He was able to outstrike Cody Durden by over double. Cody Durden did land uh, two takedowns in the first, but Joshua Van ran away with it the entire fight, outstriking him 46-18 in the first, 73-27 in the second, and 65-29 in the third. Really impressive performance. Joshua Van, really young too, at 23. He has time to grow in the flyweight division, which when we talked about Pantoja, Pantoja probably in the conversation for one of the greatest flyweights of all time. Obviously, Demetrius Johnson has that title on the lock. Like something like, what, 15-time world champion of the flyweight division. Yeah. Really good win by Joshua Van. And, I'm a bit of a fan of Cody Durden, so this did kind of hurt. Moving on to Michael Chiesa versus Max Griffin. I did think Max Griffin was going to pull this off, but Michael Chiesa was able to find the submission in the third, worked really good. Was able to outstrike Max Griffin in every round. Works really sharp. And again, I'm blanking on which submission you used because I am a moron. It was. I'm just gonna have this hold up so I can listen to this left. I'm just gonna hold it, I guess. So it was. Where is it here? It was, rear naked choke in the third round. Michael Chiesa, though, he is getting older in the welterweight division. He was in the lightweight division. I'm not sure how many fights he has left, but it was a good performance by Michael Chiesa. Moving on to Clay Guida versus Chase Hooper. Clay Guida, going into this, had a chance to break the record for most losses in UFC history, and he was granted that by an armbar in the first round. Regardless though, Clay Guida, UFC legend, he's already a Hall of Famer, I'm pretty sure. So, yeah, he's an older guy, right? 40. He's in his mid-40s. Gotta be. Chase Hooper, a young up-and-comer. I still think Chase Hooper needs time to develop again. Like all other divisions right now, lightweight is a killer division ran by Islam Makhachev with Charles Oliveira and Arman Sarukian right up there. But really good performance by Chase Hooper. Clay Guida, most losses in UFC history. Congrats on that. If you want, congratulations. Moving on to the opening fight, Kennedy Nzechukwu, if I'm saying that right. He debuted in the heavyweight division, and he showed that these are these light heavyweights who want to move up to heavyweight, and as long as they keep in good shape, you can have success. I said this in one of my other videos. The days of the big belly brawlers are gone. You need to be an athletic heavyweight if you want to beat the likes of Tom Aspinall, John Jones, Francis Ngannou. I know he's on the UFC anymore, but he should come back. Dana White, don't be a little bitch over it. But yeah, great win by Kennedy Nezuchua. I'm never gonna learn how to pronounce half of these names. But yeah, all in all, I'd say it was a really fun card, and we were able to do our first live stream. Again, anybody who tuned into that, left a comment, whatever, I really appreciate it. We're gonna be doing more live streams moving further. We've got Buckley versus Covington next week, which should be a lot of fun, and then I'm pretty sure we don't have any UFC until January, which is depressing. Other than that, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments, what did you think about these fights? What did you think about the card? And biggest question here, does Demetrius Johnson return to the UFC to face Alexander Pantoja? Let me know in the comments down below. Later.